Faye tossed and turned in her bed, the sheets twisted around her legs as she struggled against the grip of a nightmare. In her dream, she found herself standing in a dark, shadowy room, the air thick with the scent of incense and decay. The walls seemed to pulse and throb with a malevolent energy, and Faye could feel the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. As she looked around, Faye realized she was not alone. Standing in the corner of the room was a figure cloaked in darkness, its features obscured by the shadows. A chill ran down Faye's spine as she felt the weight of its gaze upon her, cold and unrelenting. Suddenly, the figure began to move towards her, its movements slow and deliberate. Faye tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. She felt as though she was rooted to the spot, unable to move as the figure drew closer and closer. As it reached out a hand towards her, Faye could see that it was holding something in its grasp. It was a small, ornate amulet, the surface of which seemed to shimmer and writhe with an otherworldly light. Faye felt a surge of fear and revulsion as she realized what it was. The amulet Ling had bought from Thailand. As the figure held the amulet out to her, Faye could see a flicker of movement within its depths. It was as though something was trapped inside, something struggling to break free. And then, with a sudden burst of clarity, Faye knew what it was. A pregnant woman, her face contorted in agony as she fought against the confines of the amulet. Faye could feel the woman's pain and despair as though it were her own, a deep, primal ache that threatened to consume her. And then, with a final, desperate cry, the woman collapsed to the ground, her body racked with spasms as she gave birth to a shadowy, ethereal form. Faye watched in horror as the spirit rose from the woman's lifeless body, its eyes burning with a fierce, malevolent light. And then, with a sudden, jolting sensation, Faye was ripped from the dream, her heart pounding in her chest as she gasped for breath. She lay there in the darkness, the memory of the nightmare still fresh in her mind, a cold sweat coating her skin. Faye knew then that the amulet Ling had brought back from Thailand was no ordinary trinket. It was a vessel for something dark and twisted, a malevolent spirit that hungered for release. And Faye knew, with a sinking sense of dread, that she was now bound to it, trapped in a nightmare from which she could not escape.